Dear finance professionals and students, welcome to podcast of FCA Deepak Rao, a practicing chartered accountant. Weekly digest for week 3 of September 2024. The capital market regulator SEBI has asked private equity and venture capital funds to disclose the names of investors who have been given special terms and representation on investment committees. This move aims to ensure transparency and address concerns about differential rights that may undermine other investors' interests. Indigo plans to significantly expand its international reach and enhance its cargo operations in the coming years as part of a broader strategy to position India's largest airline as a leading global airline by 2030. Alongside, Indigo aims to significantly increase its cargo capabilities and introduce wide-body aircraft starting in 2027. Renew Energy Global plc is exploring multiple options to raise funds for its solar gear manufacturing business, including inducting investors. The aim would be to list the business in the next year or two to cash in on the wave of investor optimism for new energy companies in India. The company is open to inducting private equity or pension funds into equipment business before listing its wholly owned subsidiary, Renew Power, in India. A rebound in government expenditure is evident from a build-up of surplus liquidity conditions in the banking sector as the centre loosens its purse strings and injects cash into the system. The absence of the key driver of economic growth had been felt in the first quarter of the year. Analysts are of the view that Reserve Bank of India's tolerance of surplus liquidity suggests it could be gradually gearing up toward a softer monetary policy. The recent changes to GST return filing rules as per notification number 12/2024, central tax dated July 10, 2024, are set to simplify the tax filing process for businesses and enhance transparency. These reforms will help both taxpayers and the government by improving traceability and reducing errors. The key changes include the reporting of high-value transactions, mandatory validation of bank accounts for GST registration, and allowing the reporting of negative liability which can be carried forward to the next month's return. Gautam Adani's Kenyatta Airport. Kenya's High Court has temporarily paused a government plan to transfer the management of Nairobi's Jomo Kenyatta International Airport to Adani Group. The 30-year lease proposal has sparked controversy with Kenya's aviation union, raising concerns about potential job losses and foreign workers replacing locals. This legal development follows last month's call for a strike by the Kenya Aviation Workers Union in opposition to the deal. Hindustan Unilever has set up a committee of independent directors to evaluate the future of its ice cream business, sparking interest from companies like RJ Corp, MMG Group and Nestle. Brands such as Quality Walls and Magnum contribute about 3% to Hindustan Unilever's annual sales of over Rs 60,000 crore. India's manufacturing sector is gaining momentum, led by the electronics industry. Apple is a key player, with plans to shift 25% of iPhone production to India by 2025. The latest iPhone 16 series will be available here soon after global launch, making a significant milestone for Indian manufacturing. Several lenders have classified loans to Mahanagar Telephone Nigam as non-performing assets, leading the state-run telecom utility to propose a debt recast plan. MTNL's offer to pay 40% of dues was rejected by lenders. the company faces significant financial challenges, including missed payments and heavy debt. Several mid-tier information technology companies are scaling back on client additions as they shift focus towards prioritizing margins amid continued weakness in discretionary spending. This marks a significant shift from the aggressive client acquisition that was previously employed to boost revenues. Data from recent quarters highlight a noticeable reduction in client additions across notable mid-tier IT firms such as Cyient, Mphasis, and Coforge. Heidelberg Research has accused SEBI chief of maintaining silence on allegations of conflict of interest. Congress claims SEBI chief's consultancy firm earned Rs 3 crore from companies regulated by SEBI, including Mahindra & Mahindra and ICICI Bank, during her tenure as a whole-time member of SEBI. Mergers and acquisitions involving digital firms with significant operations in India will need clearance from the Competition Commission of India if they meet specific criteria. The new regulations, effective from September 10th, aim to capture important transactions, especially in the digital sector, ensuring regulatory scrutiny for deals above Rs 2,000 crore or with substantial business operations in India. SBI Life Insurance has been fined Rs 1 crore by the Insurance Regulatory and Development Authority of India for violating regulations related to outsourcing and insurance web aggregators. The insurer was found to have engaged with web aggregators without clear agreements specifying services and fees, failed to report outsourcing payments, and repudiated claims beyond the 3-year period. Analjit Singh's family office has repaid debts worth Rs 5,500 to 6,000 crore taken from KKR & Co. a decade ago for investments in property and hospitality ventures. The final tranche of Rs 1,200 crore was cleared last week using funds from a 3.2% stake in Max Financial, reducing the family's holding to 3.2%. The government has notified the Competition Minimum Value of Assets or Turnover Rules 2024, outlining key thresholds for mergers and acquisitions. As per the rules, the transactions where the value of assets or turnover of the enterprise being acquired, controlled, merged, or amalgamated in India does not exceed Rs 450 crore and Rs 1,250 crore respectively shall not be considered a combination under Section 5 of the Act. These rules will take effect from September 10th, 2024. The Rs 6,560 crore IPO of Bajaj Housing Finance set records with 64 times subscription on the final bidding day, attracting bids worth nearly Rs 3.23 lakh crore. This surpassed Coal India's previous record of Rs 2.36 lakh crore in 2010. The IPO also received 8.9 million applicants, breaking Tata Technologies' record. Several small finance banks have increased their fixed deposit rates to over 8% for 2-year tenures, competing with major banks like SBI and HDFC Bank. This move comes as alternative investment options grow, drawing funds away from traditional deposits. Some finance companies are also offering competitive rates above 8% on fixed deposits. In a recent decision by the GST Council, universities and research centers set up under central and state governments' acts or those availing income tax exemption shall be exempt from paying GST on research funds. This ruling made in the Council's latest meeting on Monday, ensures that these institutions will not face GST charges on government and private research grants. NXP Semiconductors plans to double its workforce in India to more than 6,000 over the next 5 years. The company will also invest $1 billion in the next 5 years to expand its research and development capabilities in India, both in the hardware and software segments, to work on the leading devices and products such as a 5nm chip it recently launched for the automotive segment. A majority of its expanded workforce will be design engineers who still constitute more than 80% of the company employees in India. China's investment banking sector faces intense scrutiny as authorities detain top bankers amid President Xi Jinping's Common Prosperity campaign. Major firms like Haitong Securities are tightening travel restrictions and passport controls for employees. Regulatory probes are impacting the $1.7 trillion brokerage industry, raising concerns about its future while consolidations and pay cuts continue. The Adani-Hindenburg controversy escalated as the US short seller alleged that Swiss authorities had frozen over $310 million in 6 bank accounts linked to the Adani Group, citing criminal court records. The Adani Group rejected the baseless allegations, stating its operations are transparent, lawful, and unrelated to any Swiss court proceedings. Brookfield Asset Management, along with partners, has completed the acquisition of American Tower Corp's India unit, making it the largest telecom tower company in India with 257,000 towers. The new brand, Altius, will house Brookfield's telecom infrastructure portfolio, reinforcing its commitment to enhancing India's connectivity. The government is set to launch several enterprise-related surveys, including a CAPEX survey and an economic census. These surveys aim to track private sector capital investments and provide detailed data on establishments across formal and informal sectors. The National Sample Survey Office will begin the CAPEX survey in October. Ahmedabad-based Torrent Group is set to acquire a majority stake in the IPL franchise Gujarat Titans from CVC Capital Partners after the ownership lock-in period ends in February 2025. The Adani Group, initially interested, has stepped back due to the high valuation of over $1 billion and focus on core businesses. MCA announced the launch of Form ADJ or Memorandum of Appeal on the version 3 portal on 16 September 2024. This form will be used to file an appeal against an order passed by the adjudicating officer. The Central Board of Direct Taxes has issued revised instructions regarding the standard operating procedure for handling internal audit objections. The evolving landscape of operations and responsibilities in the department, especially in the faceless environment, has necessitated that the internal audit procedures be updated to ensure its efficiency while enhancing accountability and promoting compliance with the tax laws. The instruction has been issued superseding all previous instructions on internal audits, including instruction number 6/2017 dated 21st July 2017. The CBIC has issued circular to clarify that where the inputs were initially imported without payment of integrated tax and compensation cess, by availing exemption, but subsequently GST on such imported inputs are paid at a later date, then the IGST paid on exports of goods refunded to the said exporter shall not be considered to be in contravention of provisions of Sub-Rule 10 of Rule 96 of CGST rules. The Competition Commission of India is expected to issue final orders by November on its investigation into Amazon and Flipkart's alleged anti-competitive practices. The probe has found that both companies extended preferential treatment to select sellers, distorting competition across various product categories. The final decision will follow deliberations on the findings and responses from the parties involved. The CBIC has issued circular to clarify that data hosting services provided by service providers located in India to cloud computing service providers located outside India shall not be considered as intermediary services, and hence the place of supply of the same cannot be determined as per Section 13, subsection 8, clause B of IGST Act. SEBI has allowed securities funded by cash collateral to be considered as maintenance margin for margin trading facility to promote ease of doing business. This move helps to ease the burden of providing additional collateral towards the maintenance margin for the margin trading facility. This change came after SEBI received representations from market participants through the Industry Standards Forum to relax the margin trading requirements. The circular shall come into effect from October 1st, 2024. The CBIC has issued circular to clarify that the advertising company, which is involved in the main supply of advertising services, including resale of media space, to the foreign client on principal-to-principal basis, does not fulfill the criteria of intermediary under Section 2, subsection 13 of the IGST Act. Also, the recipient of the advertising services provided by the advertising company in such case is the foreign client. This podcast is sponsored by Sound of CA. We share because we care. Vande Mataram, Jai Hind.